All right, let's get into it. Today, we're going to pull on one single thread in the giant fabric of history and see what unravels. We're hunting for a hidden connection, a secret link between some moments that, on the surface, seem to have absolutely nothing in common.
So let's start with a bit of a puzzle. What could possibly connect the political rights of a major world capital, one of the deadliest battles in human history, a political pamphlet that literally changed the world, and the birth of an iconic American magazine? It sounds completely random, right? Just scattered across time and space, but you'll see they're not.
Okay, here's our first clue. It's a word that's all about power, or the lack of it, disenfranchisement. It points to a struggle for the right to have a voice, the right to vote, the right to even be counted.
Our second clue? It's much, much darker. Attrition. This word suggests a brutal, grinding conflict, a war that isn't about quick victories, but about immense, almost unimaginable loss.
And for our final clue, we've got something with a completely different vibe, sophistication. This points to culture, to wit, to the birth of a brand new kind of modern urban voice. So disenfranchisement, attrition, sophistication, what on earth is the connection?
Well, the answer, it's a date. All of these seemingly unrelated ideas, these huge monumental events, are secretly anchored to one specific day on the calendar, February 21st.
This one single day acts as a kind of chronological nexus, a point where history just seems to converge in the most unexpected ways. And this timeline right here, this is going to be our roadmap. We're going to journey through each of these moments to figure out how they all lock together on this one pretty remarkable day.
So let's start our journey in the capital of the United States, Washington, D.C. Turns out, February 21st wasn't just important for the city once, but twice.
Now check out this incredible coincidence. On February 21st, 1801, Congress passed an act that organized the new capital, but it also stripped its residents of their vote in federal elections. Then, and get this, exactly 70 years later, to the day, on February 21st, 1871, another act gets passed. This one unified the city and created a new government during Reconstruction, which for a little while gave residents, including newly enfranchised black men, a taste of local democracy.
The impact of that first act in 1801 was just profound. The great abolitionist Frederick Douglass, who actually lived in D.C., he captured the feeling perfectly. He said that without a vote, the people of the capital weren't really citizens. They were subjects, being ruled by laws they had no say in making. This quote just powerfully hits home the human cost of that February 21st decision.
And the story of February 21st in D.C. still isn't over. In 1885, after decades of delays, the Washington Monument was finally dedicated on that very same date. It's just such a powerful irony, right? A huge symbol of a reunited nation, dedicated to its founding father, standing in a city where the people had been stripped of their most basic democratic rights. Okay, so now we're going to leave America and hop across the Atlantic, because it turns out February 21st was a day that shook Europe to its core, both with revolutionary new ideas and with the actual thunder of cannons.
So on February 21st, 1848, Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels published the Communist Manifesto over in London. At its heart is this big idea called historical materialism. The simple version, it's the theory that the economy, the way things are made and who owns all the stuff, is the real engine that drives all of history, shaping everything else from laws to culture. And at the time, pretty much nobody even noticed it was published.
But here is where things get wild. On the exact same day that this theoretical blueprint for revolution was being quietly printed, a real one was about to ignite in Paris. The government there banned a political banquet, and that was the last straw for a really angry population. The whole city was a powder keg, and that night, February 21st, it was about to explode into what we now call the February Revolution. An idea and an action, both born on the very same day.
This date would be marked by conflict again, but this time on an unimaginable industrial scale. Let's jump forward to February 21st, 1916. Take a look at this number, 4,166. Any guesses? That's the approximate number of German artillery shells that were raining down per minute in the opening hours of the Battle of Verdun. It was a storm of steel so intense it was heard over 100 miles away.
And this brings us to a piece of history that a lot of people forget. Even though America was officially neutral at the time, Americans were right there in the thick of it. You had volunteers from the American Field Service driving ambulances straight into that hellscape, rescuing hundreds of thousands of wounded soldiers. And way up above, The brave American pilots of the Lafayette Escadrille were fighting for France, basically skirting neutrality to join one of history's most horrific battles.
For our final big stop, we're heading back to the United States, this time to New York City, where February 21st marks a major cultural birth.
On February 21st, 1925, the very first issue of The New Yorker magazine hit the newsstands. Its founder, Harold Ross, made his mission crystal clear with this now famous, kind of defiant statement. This was not going to be some folksy mainstream magazine. Nope, it was for a specific kind of reader, witty, urban, and sophisticated. But that first issue? Oh man, it was a very mixed bag. What's so interesting here is that you can see the magazine's DNA right from the very start. You've got these flashes of pure brilliance, like the iconic Eustace Tilley cover that's still used today. But then right alongside it, you had some truly awful, kind of sophomoric content, including offensive jokes and even a glowing review of a book promoting racial hatred. It was a clumsy, complicated, but ultimately revolutionary start.
So, wow. We've traveled from D.C. to Paris, from Verdun to New York. We've seen a capital's rights get defined, a revolution's spark, a battle's roar, and a magazine's very first words. And all of it, somehow, on the same date. Let's try to connect these dots.
And what's crazy is the pattern doesn't stop. February 21st just kept being this significant day. In 1948, NASCAR was officially born. In 1953, Watson and Crick figured out the double helix structure of DNA, literally unlocking the secret of life. In 1965, Malcolm X was tragically assassinated. And in 1972, President Nixon landed in China, a visit that totally redrew the map of the Cold War. This day just keeps echoing through time.
So what this all really shows us is that history isn't always a neat and tidy straight line. Sometimes it's more like a web, a nexus. A single date, like February 21st, can become this point where the threads of government and revolution and war and culture all pull together, revealing this fascinating pattern you'd never see otherwise.
And that kind of leaves us with one final thought. We've uncovered the secrets of February 21st, but it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What moments of triumph, tragedy, and transformation are all connected to today's date? What hidden history is happening all around us right now, just waiting to be discovered?